DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
All right, we are live, and good evening. Welcome. Thank you for joining me this evening. This is our night of chat rooms, I think is the best way to describe this. Yes, I think that would be a good way to describe this. We are broadcasting right now out to YouTube and to Facebook, and if you are watching this out on Facebook, actually, I should copy a link, and then we're going to put that link in the Facebook area, so you guys can follow it if you want to. Or you can go into the description in both Facebook and YouTube because, well, there's a lot of important links there. Tonight, I'm going to be doing about 25 minutes or so here. Then in the in the description below both Facebook and YouTube, you're going to find a lot of links. This link is one of them. And then below that, there is the link to the different Zoom shows. Now, I guess maybe this link isn't below there. Anyway, so the YouTube, I put it out there. Those Zoom channels, shows, whatever, what those are basically chat rooms you're going to be able to go to tonight. Now, what's a little bit different about this than some of the webinars and things, or what we're doing right now, is that you're going to be able to participate. You can go and put your pants on first because your video camera could be turned on if you wanted it on. You're going to be able to go into that, and when you go to the room, your microphone is going to be on so you can converse. You can shut it off. There's no problem with that. You can just kind of be a lurker and listen if you want to. But your mic will be on. So you can ask questions. If there's a lot of people, the host of the room is going to ask everyone to please mute their microphones. Otherwise, you have this weird, funky echo going on. And they'll ask for either the comments to come in via the chat or to have you raise your hand. Then you turn your mic on and then do the question once they call upon you, kind of like school. We'll have to do if there's a lot of people. But the idea is we're going to have rooms where people can get together and talk about kind of a subject area. And we have, of course, different subject areas in which we'll be talking about tonight. Plus, before we get to those, I want to answer a couple of questions. I've got a couple of questions that you guys have sent in, and we're just going to deal with those related to gear. So we'll kind of jump on those. Then we'll get to what our 4 different chat rooms are going to be like tonight. If you're watching this afterwards, these videos will all be put up on YouTube. I shouldn't say it. We're going to try to record, make sure. If they don't get recorded, I apologize for that, but we're going to try to record them all and put them on YouTube. Then all of the links down below, if you don't see any Zoom links, zoom.us links, and they're all YouTube links, that's because now they're YouTube videos, and you can access the same content there. So that's going to be kind of what we're going to be doing tonight. And I got to get out of that. Yeah, great. Thank you for joining in. My video feed has issues? What is it? What's going on with my video feed? Is it... Let me know what's going on with the video feed. I don't think... Just a second. I'm going to turn the audio on. Zoom.us link? No, the audio seems good. Yeah, I know there's some weird kind of strobing thing that's been going on recently, and I don't know what that is. Okay, just a second. No, now you guys... No, I can't switch cameras. Usually I can switch cameras really easily, but maybe not tonight. I bet it's, I'm not going to be able to do some of those things. And my color is not as good as usual, too. It makes me look like I've got a white forehead, a really pasty white. And, of course, it's cold, so maybe it is. I don't know. Auto exposure. If we go there, can we do that? I don't know. We'll just have to suffer with it tonight. I'm sorry. I thought it was... The black lines, yeah, we've got some kind of wavy going on. I'm going to have to see. Maybe my webcam is acting funky. I've got different webcams. I'll have to try a different one. So after tonight, because I'm really noticing it tonight. I don't know why. Well, now I'm not noticing it there. Did I do something to fix it? Sorry, if you're watching the show later and you're wondering what's going on. This is live. This is what happens when you're going live. Things get weird. And it seems like it's gone. I don't know. Naughty application. There, that's what it was. So, a couple of questions that we have. First off, a lot of you have seen the Newmark NS62 over here. And this was the one we've been playing with and such. It's actually in demo mode because I don't have the computer on. And people have been asking the difference between the NS62, or my preference between, they know I've got the Denon 7000 back there. That's the one I take on the road with me. I've got the Denon, the MCX 8000, which is on the other side. And now, of course, we've got the Newmark here in the studio. And the question came up, which one do you like more? Well, there's some features on the Newmark that I wish were on the Denon, and there's some things on the Denon that I really like. So it's really kind of a tough thing to be able to say, this one is so much better than that one. One feature that I really like both on a 7000 and the NS62 is the ability to plug in two laptops. I didn't think this was going to be such a cool thing until I started thinking about the whole backup world. Having a second laptop ready to go, plugged in, so you have your two laptops up there. I didn't think I would want this, desire this, like this. Now that I've been looking and playing with it a little bit, it's like, oh my gosh, how do I live without that? That's one thing that the MCX 8000 doesn't have. So I'm thinking we're going to see in a period of time an MCX 8000, MK2 type of a situation. But the Newmark, two laptops. The 7000 can have two laptops. Now the one thing that the 8000 does that these don't, or this does, the Newmark doesn't, is it has the ability to do the USB things in there. So that's kind of a cool thing. And I don't think I can do. No, I can. I can do USB. So don't scratch that. Maybe it's a 7000 I can't do. I don't remember. Anyway, I haven't done that. But I have learned something this past week that was kind of interesting. A lot of you know that I run Virtual DJ, and we were having some issues with Virtual on a new laptop not talking to controllers. Turns out that, and for a lot of you who've been using controllers for a while, this is not new information, so I apologize for boring you with this. But there's firmware updates that you occasionally have to do when you are dealing with controllers. And we actually had to do that with the MCX 8000 this week. I had my MacBook Pros. They work wonderfully. And that's what when we did the speaker test you guys saw, we were running it through the 8000 into those speakers, and we were running it. That's why we had the board all set, so everything was the same and looping, da-da-da-da-da. MacBook Air, I just picked one up here at the end of the year, so I would have a larger MacBook Air that would have all of my music on it as my spare playback computer, but it wouldn't talk to that 8000. And I tried, and such. It just was so frustrating. So I ended up calling my tech support guy, MJ, and we looked at different things and couldn't come up with what was. And then we decided to basically do the software and upgrade the firmware. I'm going to do a video on it because it's not difficult to do, but it's kind of a step-by-step process, and you have to do it in a certain way. So that was something that after doing it, it's like, oh yeah, I've got to do a video on how to do this. So for those of you who are out there, because if you read the directions and it's, they're there and they're pretty, some people read and they're like reading a different language, that they don't do well with the written word as well as someone showing them. So we're going to do the video. Upgraded the firmware on the 8000. Works wonderfully. The little laptop works incredibly well. MacBook Air, good to go. So that was kind of exciting. So of the choice, I haven't seen any glitches and when I'm looking through the hard drive, but then maybe I haven't used it enough to really be able to say that there's glitches or not. That's one of the problems with Virtual for me, is I'm only a year and a half into using Virtual DJ. I was using Megaseg on the laptop, and DJ were the two main ones I was using, which I wasn't doing the mixing and such like I can do now in some of the different tech. Yeah. Well, MJ, that tech pay, yeah, the check's in the mail. Yeah, sure. So I haven't been using Virtual enough to know there could be issues, and I'm just not catching it. Someone who uses it and at the high level like MJ does, he would be able to say, oh yes, there's this little glitch, and it might be this. He's thorough enough where he'd be like, oh yeah, there's this one little pixel that does this weird little thing. I wouldn't even, it's like there could be like people dying and I wouldn't know it if it was on a screen. It's just because I'm still learning that whole process of Virtual DJ. So which one would I prefer? I'm a huge Denon fan. I love those Denons. The thing I wish that the Denons had that the Newmark has is the touch capacitive knobs. That part I wish would be on the Denon. That's really, of all the different aspects of it, the part that it's like, oh, I wish. Beyond that, the Denon is a beautiful unit. The Newmark is a beautiful unit. They do a great job. It's just I'm a little preferential for the Denon. So that's that. Each one does a nice job. Each has their own application or situation. Next question we're going to hit here, and then we'll be ready to launch to the rooms in just a little bit. People were asking about, we've done a lot of testing and comparing of speakers, and a lot of 12-inch speakers. That was really, 2017 for me has been the year of the 12-inch speaker. Let's see. I think I've looked at, well, I've got a page here. Let me count these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 10 different speakers, I think, this year. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go through and show you guys each speaker that I have and give you just a few things of what I've heard from these. And then, I've got them kind of organized in their pricing. So that way you have an idea of what they are like and such as you're looking for different speakers and what I've heard and different things such as that. So to not delay any farther with this. Okay, yep, good. You can still see my mic going. So we're going to start. I'm going through the speakers that I have had in office and I have heard or I've actually had a chance to play with this year. And there's one here I haven't actually had in the office yet, and they're supposed to be on their way, and I'm pretty excited, but I've got to play with them a little bit at one of the DJ shows, and I added them here just to give you a point of reference where they fall. I've organized these in from the least expensive to the most expensive speakers. So we will get this going. I gotta hide this one window so I can have access. So first off, earlier this season we had the PV Dark Matter. We had the subs in here. We had the Dark Matter. We had the RBN, and we also had the sub. The Dark Matter is they're kind of a more of a starter DJ cabinet. It has a nice sound. Basically, what you're sacrificing is the ability to go super, super loud and having that sound pressure at a very high volume. It's really kind of, again, that entry level, so it's going to be able to do a lot of things. It's going to be great for doing ceremonies or smaller events. Is it going to do a 300 or 400 kid teen dance? No, it's not meant for that. Price-wise, at $299, it's one of the least expensive cabinets we have had in this year, and it was a nice sound. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't bad. It could look. I'm not going to get into the warranty and different things. Which I guess I can see it's a 2-year warranty. It's something, if you were looking to get into a second sound system, if you were going to do that, you could get the Dark Matter sub, the Dark Matter top, and it would be a fairly inexpensive system. The next is the Avante. We just actually did a test with the Avante, and I've seen pricing range on the Avante speakers. This is showing $399 here on the NLFX Pro website. The Avante is a very nice sounding cabinet. Did it sound as good as some of the others we've tested? No. Price point wise, it's where it's at. And I've seen them cheaper online than the $400. There's a very nice cabinet. It has a unique look to it. Avante's new in the market, so we're really not sure exactly, how long they're going to last and different things. I was just trying to see if I could see a warranty here, if Kat and the crew had the warranty information on the website. I'm not seeing it here, so maybe somebody would know that more than I would. It's definitely something to keep an eye on. The Avante speakers, I think, we're going to hear more about them in 2018 as we go along. This is their first entry with their Chromic Series speakers. Again, $399. I've seen them. I thought when we did the videos we were seeing them at $359, I want to say, but maybe I could be wrong on that. A nice sounding speaker. Did they win our speaker shootout? No, they did not win a shootout. They stood toe-to-toe with some of the other speakers in this area, and you can go and listen to them. They weren't the worst sounding-wise, in my opinion, of the speakers I tested, and they weren't by far the best because we've got some very expensive speakers, and they were one of the cheaper ones. Okay, next, Cerwin Vega. We had the Cerwin Vega. These were the CVE 12 powered speakers at the $399 price also. Cerwin Vega also had Bluetooth, if I'm not mistaken. I think this one has the Bluetooth mode in there. I believe this one had Bluetooth. Gosh, I'm not even sure. Right at the top of my head. Yeah. I think it had Bluetooth capability. Definitely had some nice functionality. Sounded actually in the speakers in this price range. I would say that the Cerwin Vega, because the Mackie, the Cerwin Vega, and the Avante all were in the same $399 price range. I would say that this probably of the three sounded the best of the three. Nice little cabinet, lightweight. It's a poly cabinet, so it's very lightweight, and it gave a really good sound. As we were talking, Jeremy Lanby and I were talking about this. If we had to go out and buy some speakers, this would definitely be one we would look at a little bit more. So the Cerwin Vega CVE 12. Continuing on, Mackie had their thump. We had the 12B ST. there are a couple of things with the Mackie. I was a little bit disappointed in the sound quality. I wasn't hearing the highs, and I wasn't hearing the lows as much as I thought. But really, the part that was noticeable is the highs. It's like the cymbals just weren't there. So I thought, well, maybe it's the one is not working properly. So I opened the second one, tried it, and it sounded the exact same. Secondly, is when we didn't have anything connected, no Bluetooth, no audio or anything, we had this noise going on the whole time. So then we hook everything up just to see maybe it was the Bluetooth, that it's not picking up signal, it's causing noise. It was there the whole time. There was nothing we could do to get that noise to stop. We couldn't turn gains down on the back. We couldn't get the noise. There's a constant sound of sounds like air going, like a wind going through the thing, which it obviously is not. But it was interesting. I like the Bluetooth capability of the Mackie. I think that in some ways, if it wouldn't have that little weird kind of a wind noise, and if the highs were just a little bit, you felt like we were missing some of the cymbals. You could hear some of the hi-hat, but if it was like a crash cymbal or a ride cymbal, I lost that. And I don't understand why I would hear the hi-hat but not that. But that is multiple songs. I just could not hear that. So of the three, I was probably the most disappointed with the Mackie, again, in this price range. But I love the Bluetooth capability. And if I wouldn't be listening side by side with the others, if I'm a Mackie fan and I get these, I would hear that noise and I'd be like, oh, I'm not happy with that noise. But the sound quality was good. Don't get me wrong. I'm being pretty fussy here with that sound quality. So overall, and the old Mackies, of course, they are the old Italian-made Mackies. Those were fairly bulletproof, and they did sound incredibly well. It was a good quality sound there. So just checking the chat room here to make sure everything looks like we are streaming. So in about 10 minutes or so, I'm going to cut you guys loose to go to the other rooms and such. They're not open yet, so don't jump out on me yet. Let's finish going through these speakers because it's worth the conversation here. Next one, the EKX 12P. This is one we actually had in studio. I actually own a pair of these. I love the speakers. You can see we're jumping up in price here up to $699 on these, and maybe I've got a couple of these out of order in pricing. A little bit more horsepower. You've got a wood cabinet, so you're getting a different sound than you are with the prior three. And I'm a big fan of the EKX. But as I said in the video, I feel the EKX give me a little bit wider dispersion than my ETX. I have both of them. ETX I think has more of a directional throw. EKX will give you more of a dispersion. I think you really noticed it in that video Jeremy and I did comparing the Pioneer to the ETX. The ETX has such a direct throw, and it was just slamming into the microphone. The dB rating with the two speakers when we did that test was almost identical. They sounded identical volume to our ears, but you could hear in the microphone that ETX, which was just point blank at the mic, was overdriving the mic. And I should have probably taken that out and left that out. But it tells a story. It tells that ETX is sending more low frequencies than that Pioneer was. We couldn't hear it, but the microphone could, which is really kind of cool. So that actually gave me a completely new appreciation for that ETX cabinet, that it could do some incredible things. EKX is the second from the top of the line in EV speakers, and there's a great deal going on with those right now. And if you go to contact Katie from NLFX Pro, she will get you hooked up on some awesome speakers. Earlier in the season, we had the RBN 12. Those are coming in at $799 there. I don't know if you guys can see those or see that or not. Yeah, you guys can see that. I just can't on my side. No fear there. RBN speakers from PV is kind of their step-up speaker. They would be one of their top speakers that they had. They introduced a new line this past fall that I haven't gotten a chance to play with, but this RBN is kind of the top. As you can see, that blue glow, it's a ribbon speaker, a ribbon tweeter. It's a little bit different. Incredible sound, great dispersion on that. I was really happy with that. We did some testing with this against the Bose, and they really, in many cases, a lot of you have listened to that video and you said the Bose got killed, that the RBN speaker outdid those. Again, $800 a piece cabinet, so you're getting up there in price quite a bit with that one. So I'm out of order. Sorry about that. We just tested the RCF Art series, the 712A, which is, I think I had the MK2 model. I'm not sure because there's an MK2, there's an MK4, I believe. And the one I have that I did the test on had no MK anything. So I apologize. I'm going to be confused with that. I think this is it. This is what it looks like. This is what, the price right around $700, $699. It's a really tough call if this was the one. In our testing, the RCF Art 712 sounded great. It was the best sounding plastic cabinet by far, hands down. It sounded fabulous. It had a lot of power, and you could go to a very high volume and you could run that thing, and you weren't feeling like you were losing. Kind of, if you imagine the sound from highs to lows as kind of this wall coming at you, as we get higher volumes, it seems like all of a sudden we started losing some of that on some of the speakers. So then all the lows were kind of gone, and as they get louder, we didn't hear that in the RCF. And the Art series, I've had the 745s in here, and they seem to be that way. They just can go and go and go. So definitely impressed with the RCF. Is it worth $300 more per cabinet than say the Sherwin Vega or the others? That's a decision you would have to make in that realm. Is it worth more than the other? Those are decisions you would need to make in your application. As a DJ who had a multi-system company, I don't know if I would go and buy those in subs if I could get away with something that would be maybe just a little cheaper for my staff who don't DJ as often. If it was something for my main show, different world, and I might do something different. Continuing on, then we did the Express 12 from Pioneer DJ, the Express 12, which the prices on those are around $1,100 for that. The biggest difference between the Pioneer and the ETX, basically, they're within $100 of each other, and those two we wanted to compare. And you listen to those, and I think the difference you hear is the dispersion. The Pioneer seems to be a little bit wider dispersion in the highs, where the ETX is more of a direct throw, a longer throw. Not a super long throw, don't get me wrong. They're a DJ speaker, but they're a longer throw than the Pioneer. I think from what I've heard from some people who have used both, they're saying a similar thing when they're on the other side of the gym, that the Pioneer, it just doesn't have that direct throw, so they're not getting that sound out. I mean, it's filling the room, don't get me wrong, but it seems that it's kind of doing like the line array type of a thing where it's kind of filling the room to the sides and such and spreading that sound out, where the ETX is kind of sending that sound right out to your points of where you want it to hit. The sound quality, they're both very, very good. I think the ETX, after the non-audio version of that bass hit, may have a little bit more of a bass hit. We didn't do any tweaking. The ETX box and both boxes were flat. But if Pioneer, let's say they went and they did a little boost in their tuning of the cabinet, and EV didn't, that could be the sound difference. It would really take something where we'd go and put them both together, do some tweaking on their EQing, and get them running at, we did them at 90 dB here. We could have taken them up to 110, 115 dB, get them EQ'd properly. Then we could have judged which one can we make sound the best. That would have been our better test. We didn't do that because if I go up to 110 or 115 in this building, I do that outside in the summer. If I do that in the winter here, it would be knocking my lights and everything down. So, not going to do that. And the final one, back to the NLFX Pro, the ETX 12. This was one of my purchases from last spring. I bought a pair of the ETX. I bought it for two reasons. First off, I wanted to have some ETX, and that was probably not a good reason. But anyway, that was one of them. Really, it was that delay factor, because I do my EKX system, and there's a couple of venues where they're long venues, so I have the sound here, and then I wanted to add additional speakers about halfway down the room, maybe a 160-foot room in one case. The other one I think is about 140 feet. But I wanted to put another set of speakers so that during the dinner time I would have better coverage of the room. Well, they're going to be about 40 feet in front of me. I wanted to have the ETX so then I could set that delay so that way when a wall of sound came from my EKX, and then it would be timed exactly with the ETX, so you wouldn't have this weird echo thing going on. It would give me good coverage across the room. $1,100 or $1,200. They're not cheap cabinets. They've got I wonder if they've got the warranty information. You're talking a plywood box, a lot of digital processing capability with this one. It's a great cabinet. If I had my choice between the Pioneer and Eevee, I'm going to go with the Eevee. I just like having the combination that I have. If I were only going to be buying one box, I still would probably go with the Eevee, and I'd probably still go with the ETX box over the EKX box since I've used both of those. Jeremy, on the other hand, if you watch the video, he's kind of liking that Pioneer sound. So it's a little bit different. Everyone's got their kind of ways in which they're looking at things when it comes to the audio side of it. But I haven't had any problem with my EV speakers, the subs or the tops and such. So I've been very happy with those, as with all the speakers that we've been doing. So a lot of good stuff. With the Float Parade, I actually used the ETX and EKX. I used the 12s. I had two of the 12s. I set the ETX in the front of my trailer, we had a 6x12 trailer. We set the two ETX up in the front, and they were kind of shooting out and forward a little bit. So they were kind of getting up ahead of the vehicle. So when you saw our vehicle coming, we had in the front, we had signage in the front, and we had signage on the side of the vehicle, and then the trailer was fully signage, and then we had back. But I wanted people to see us coming, because then the kids could, they'd be waving, and then they could throw the candy. So the ETX were in front and going more forward. Then the EKX they were in the back, but they were more facing the sides. So that way, when we got past, the sound would kind of go with us. We wouldn't have a lot of sound kind of bleeding back behind us, because I didn't want to have that and be that bad parade person, which happens quite a bit. So that's the route I decided to go. It worked very well. We had a generator, a little inverter generator, and it ran all 4 speakers. Lori had a bubble machine out on the top of the Expedition, so there were bubbles all over. She was going down the street, because for our local newspaper, I do live video streaming of these things. I've got the video of it's just this mass of bubbles, and kids are running around and catching the bubbles, and it's filling up the whole city block in some of these small towns. And of course, there's music going for the speakers. So I was very, very happy with that. So that's kind of a rundown of the different speakers that we've had in here. I think I got them all. Well, there's one of them I must not have done. Yeah, the ELX. Did I not do the ELX? The ELX 12. Maybe I didn't do that one. Let's go. The ELX 200. This is the one I heard. I was able to listen to at DJ Expo, but I haven't had a chance to actually play with. And this is the one that's going to be coming in here. That's coming in at $699. This would be the ETX, EKX, ELX, and then the ZLX. So it's the second up from that. What's kind of cool is I wonder if I click on this, will it pop it up? There we go. They've added the DSP capability to this, and you can see that they also have the RCA inputs. I'm really kind of excited about this, because they sounded really good. I want to put them side by side with my EKX. I know I'm asking them to be a step up, because you're looking at a $599 price to a $699 price, so you're about $100 more, maybe a little bit less than that or more than that, depending upon what kind of rebates and things that are going on from EV. But I'm excited to go and get to spend some time playing with these, because they're a little bit lighter weight, which are plastic cabinet over the wood cabinet of the EKX. And I think for someone who's a little bit smaller stature, in my case, I'm thinking it might be a great cabinet for Lori to be able to get out and do some things with those. So, well, gang, that is about it for me for tonight. Thank you for being with me. Now, you need to go down into the comment section, or not comment section, down the description. There's 4 different rooms. We've got Brian and Howie. They're going to be talking about getting the most of your gear. We've got Mitch and Vicky, who are going to be talking about selling wedding services and connecting with clients and such. They do the Creating Connections podcast, and there's a lot of great information. They're going to be there to answer questions too, by the way. This is part of that interaction. Dan Carpenter and Jared Wade are going to be kind of looking ahead, and we're going to be talking. I'm going to be bouncing in with them, because that's going to be the starting of our Monday night show. So I'll be with them. And then Arnaldo and Dane are going to be kind of looking back into 2017, looking at some of the gear, answering your questions on some of the things you've seen Arnaldo talk about this past year. Those are the rooms. You can go from one to the next. You're not stuck in any of those. You can bounce back and forth. Then next week, we're going to be doing this again on Tuesday and Wednesday night of next week. We're going to be doing 2 nights of special content for you guys with the live chat. So go and have fun. If you're having problems with something, message me on Facebook. I'll try to follow those as best I can. Kind of private message me on Facebook. Don't go to the Disc Jockey News or DJNTV. Go to John Young MN, Facebook.com/John Young MN. Private message me, and I'll try to handle all those questions. But hey, it's time for me to go. We'll see you guys in the chat rooms. Thanks for watching.